Now the next topic which I am going to explain is antenna beam efficiency. It is represented by epsilon suffix m. Now, how are you going to define it? Now, the beam efficiency is defined as ratio of main beam area to total beam area. I repeat, beam efficiency is defined as ratio of main beam area to total beam area, where main beam area is represented by omega suffix capital M and the total beam area is represented by omega suffix capital A. Now, using that, I am writing a formula for beam efficiency. Beam efficiency is represented by epsilon suffix capital M, which is defined as ratio of main beam area to total beam area, where main beam area is represented by omega suffix capital M and total beam area is represented by omega suffix capital A. Now, this total beam area omega suffix capital A can be written as omega suffix capital M plus omega suffix small m. You know that omega suffix capital M is main beam area, whereas omega suffix small m is called minor lobe area. Now, you are dividing this whole equation with omega suffix capital A on both sides. Now, this becomes omega A by omega A is equal to 1. Next, that is equal to omega suffix capital M by omega A, which is nothing but epsilon m that you have written, and omega suffix small m by omega suffix capital A that you are writing it as epsilon suffix small m, where this epsilon suffix small m is called stray factor. Here you can see this. Epsilon suffix small m is equal to omega suffix small m by omega suffix A. This term is called as stray factor. Once again, I repeat, first you need to write the definition of beam efficiency, which is nothing but ratio of main beam area to total beam area. Main beam area is represented by omega suffix capital M. Total beam area is represented by omega suffix capital A. That we are writing as a formula. Epsilon suffix capital M is equal to omega M by omega A. Now we are writing formula for total beam area. Omega A is equal to omega suffix capital M plus omega suffix small m, where omega suffix capital M is main beam area, omega suffix small m is minor lobe area. Now, this equation you are dividing on both sides with omega suffix A on both sides. Now, you will get this. You will get this equation now. Okay, now you know that epsilon suffix capital M is equal to omega M by omega A as per definition, whereas epsilon suffix small m is equal to omega suffix small m by omega suffix small a, which is called as stray factor. And this question might be important as far as 5 marks question is considered from unit 1. Now getting back to the next topic. Right. Before starting radiation mechanism, I would like to say regarding field zones. Field zones or field regions are classified into two types. First one is near field region, another one is far field region. Now I'm saying the definition of near field region. The region which is nearer to antenna surroundings. I repeat, the region which is nearer to antenna surroundings is called as near field region, and the region which is farther away from antenna surroundings is called as far field region. I repeat, the region which is nearer to antenna surroundings is called near field region, and the region which is farther away from antenna surroundings is called far field region. Now there is a condition, whether it may be near field or far field. I am saying that for near field region, capital R, I repeat, for near field region, capital R is less than 2d square by lambda, where R is distance between transmitter and receiver. I repeat, R is distance between transmitter and receiver. D is any longest dimension. See here, D is not diameter, not distance. D is any longest dimension of antenna. Okay, it might be length, it might be breadth, it might be anything. Okay, whatever the longest dimension is there, that is called as D here. And lambda, you know that it is operating wavelength. I repeat, for near field region, the condition is R should be less than 2d square by lambda. And for far field, the condition is R should be greater than or equal to 2d square by lambda. Now, near field region is also called as Fresnel region, F-R-E-S-N-E-L. Near field region is also called as Fresnel region, and far field region is called as Fraunhofer region, F-R-A-U-N-H-O-U-F-F-E-R, Fraunhofer region. I repeat, another name for near field region is Fresnel region. Another name for far field region is Fraunhofer region. I hope you understood this. Now, getting back to the next topic called radiation mechanism in single wire antenna. See, morning we studied the first definition of antenna as it is any conducting material in the form of wire or rod or any other shape with excitation. Okay, it can be in the form of a wire. Hence here the side heading is written as radiation mechanism in single wire antenna. Here what we have to say is how a single wire can act as an antenna and how is it going to radiate. So first let me give you some introduction here. Now we said that antenna is any conducting material. Conductor means there should be a flow of current, right? Now let us consider some possible cases in single wire antenna. Let us hope the case one as if charge is stationary. Okay, generally current is nothing but flow of charge. If I suppose that charges are stationary, will there be any current? No. Hence there will not be any radiation. I repeat case 1. If the charges are stationary, that is they are not moving, then there will not be any current. If there is no current, hence radiation will not take place. Now this is the first case we need to consider. I am talking about second case. Now let us suppose charge is moving with uniform velocity. Okay, I repeat, now charge is moving with uniform velocity. Now I will consider two cases in this particular case. I repeat, in second case only I am considering with uniform velocity. Okay, radiation is not possible for a wire which is infinitely long. I repeat, now charge is moving, but there is no radiation for a wire which is straight and infinitely long. Next, now charge is moving with velocity. Now radiation is possible if the wire is not straight. Not straight means it might be bent, it might be curved, it might be continuous, it might be terminated, it might be truncated. All these cases you can see here. Okay, you can see here. Okay, in all these cases, a single wire can radiate when the charge is moving with uniform velocity. But when it cannot radiate if the charge is stationary, and when it cannot radiate if the charge is moving, but if the wire is straight enough, it will not radiate it. Understood this part? Now last but not the least, now charge is moving. Okay, now radiation is also possible in a straight wire if the charge is oscillating in time motion. You can see this. I repeat, just now I said charge is moving, but radiation is not possible for a straight wire which is infinitely long. Now in this case, what I am saying, radiation is also possible for a straight wire. I am saying now. How? The condition is charge should oscillate in time motion. If the charge is oscillating like a simple pendulum, okay, then for a straight wire also radiation will take place. I repeat the three cases now. First case, if the charge is stationary, there is no current, hence radiation will not take place. Case 2, if the charge is moving with uniform velocity. Okay, in this first point I am saying, in case 2, first point I am saying, charge is moving with uniform velocity, but radiation is not possible for a straight wire which is infinitely long. Second point from case 2, charge is moving with uniform velocity only. Now radiation is possible for a wire which is curved, bent, discontinuous, terminated and truncated. Case 3, now radiation is also possible for a straight wire if the charge is oscillating in time motion. I think you understood these three cases. But the most important point is coming now. For radiation to exist, a charge must accelerate or decelerate. Means a charge have to move in the forward direction or backward direction. Accelerate means in the forward direction, decelerate means in the reverse direction. And the current must be time varying. What I mean to say is current should be depending on time. Now I have considered a cylindrical surface here. You can see the figure, divided into three axes, X, Y and Z. Here I have written some area. Okay, I am supposing that electric field is along Z direction. Similarly, current is along Z direction and velocity of those charges is also along Z direction. Now from current density, we know that J is equal to rho V into V, which I have written it here. Can you see it here? J is equal to rho V into V, where J is current density, rho V is volume charge density, Vz is velocity along Z direction. Now current density is nothing but current per unit area. I wrote it as Iz by A. Volume charge density can be written as Q by V. And this Vz I have written it as Vz only. For this volume, I am writing it as area into distance. Now I am cancelling area on both sides. Now this becomes Iz is equal to Q by L, where Q by L is called line charge density. That I am writing it as rho L, that is equal to Q by L. You can see it here. And that Vz I wrote it as Vz only. But just now we said that for radiation to exist, the current should be time varying. Hence, I am multiplying d by dt on both sides. Now, d by dt of Iz is equal to rho L dvz by dt. Now, rate of change of velocity is called acceleration, which I have represented it as Az. You can see it here. Since these are made up of transmission lines, all the transmission lines which are distributed throughout the entire length of a transmission line, helps I am multiplying with length on both sides of this equation. Then it becomes L diz by dt is equal to, okay, L rho L dvz by dt. This one, that is equal to L into rho L. This dvz by dt can be written as Az. Now I am changing this. Instead of this rho L, if I write, instead of this rho L, if I write L into Q by L, this L and this L gets cancelled. Now this, what is remaining here in this term, Q into dvz by dt, that I have wrote it here. L dz by dt is equal to Q dvz by dt. Instead of d by dt, I am representing everything with here. In this case, I am representing d by dt with a dot. Generally, I wrote it as L into I dot is equal to Q into V dot. This expression is called fundamental relation of EM radiation, or you can also call it as fundamental equation for. This is regarding radiation mechanism in single wire antenna. Now, I am talking about radiation mechanism in two wire antenna. Now you can clearly see this. I have taken two wires. See here, this is one line and this is another line. Okay. Now this line and this line, these two lines are parallel to each other, but parallel lines are called as transmission lines. You know that. Now, as per definition of transmission lines are conductors only. They can be in any form, in the shape of wire or rod with excitation. Means one end should be closed. See, this end I have closed it with some energy source. You can see it here. Okay, you are supplying some energy here. Now see here. Now this is voltage source. What will the voltage source do? It will produce charges. You can see here positive and negative charges here, right? But the flow of charges is called what? Current. I hope you are understanding this. Voltage will produce charges. These charges will constitute into a current. Okay. And the field generated due to this current is called electric field. I hope you are understanding this. As this transmission line is a pair of conductors. Okay. Now, due to this electric field, magnetic field will generate, but electric field will always move from positive to negative. Since this current is flowing throughout the entire length of a transmission line, magnetic force will be developed as per Fleming's left hand rule. Fm is equal to BIL, where B is magnetic flux, I is current, L is length of a conductor. And you can see this, the closed paths. You can see the closed paths here. Okay. These closed paths are because of magnetic field generated within the circuit. Okay. As soon as these come out of the antenna structure, that guided wave will become electromagnetic wave when it comes in free space. Okay. Till here, the structure of antenna closed. Out of the structure of antenna, whatever the wave is coming out, Now it is representing free space wave. Now can I say that antenna acts as a transition region between guided wave and free space wave at the transmission section and vice versa at the receiving section. This is everything about radiation mechanism in two-wire antenna. I hope you understood this. Now, another topic is fields from oscillating dipole. Repeat, dipole means two poles equal in magnitude but opposite in size, but opposite in sign, right? You can see here, one is represented as positive charge, another one is represented as negative charge. Okay, with the separation of L0 between them. Now let us suppose at time t is equal to 0, the separation between the dipoles is maximum. Okay, here this field line indicates electric field always travels from positive to negative only. You can see the arrow mark here. Okay, I repeat, at time t is equal to 0, separation between the two charges is maximum and the current is minimum. Acceleration is also maximum. I repeat, at time t is equal to 0, length means separation is maximum, acceleration is maximum, but current is minimum. Now, say at t is equal to t by 8 period. Now, these two charges start moving towards each other. Now, you can see this figure here. This figure. Now, can you see here? Can you compare these two figures? The field lines have changed. See the field line here and see the field line here. It has changed. Okay, what is happening at t is equal to t by 8? The charges are moving towards each other. Now, at another time period, say t is equal to 2t by 8. 2t by 8 means t by 4. Now, these two charges will intersect at a midpoint. Now, these two charges will intersect at midpoint and the field lines get detached. You can see here, they have met at the midpoint, these two charges, and the field lines got detached. The positive one has become -1 and the -1 has become +1. Now at this point, current is maximum, separation is minimum, and acceleration is minimum. I repeat, at this point, acceleration is minimum, separation is minimum, but current is maximum. Now, say at t is equal to 3t by 8, the charges start moving away from each other now. You can see here, the charges are moving away from each other. At t is equal to 4t by 8, the last figure. 4t by 8 means 4 by 8 is 1 by 2, t by 2. What is happening now? Again, acceleration has become maximum and current has become minimum. And this process goes on repeating. I hope you people understood this. Yeah. Yeah, Vamshi, can you take the screenshot, ma?
Yes, sir.
Right. Next, the 71 people are present here. Section wise, you note down the numbers of people who are present and send it to me, ma. Okay, I'm ending the session here.
Okay, sir.
Right. Tomorrow again we'll meet at 10:30.